Did you hear that song last night, Jimmy? Yeah. Did you hear that practice? It was pretty good. Oh, the one that Pam put up? Yeah. We need to get Jimmy involved a little more on this one. Whatever you want to say.
No, I don't really jog much.
Right. Well, let's talk about why not.
Age. Stop.
What? I mean, we run with this guy who's like 69. No, he's like 69 years old. We're sedentary.
Okay.
Yeah, true. You can't just sit there.
We're up.
You're listening to AZRadio.live's production of our Multisport Mojo podcast featuring Steve Harper and Captain Kurt Taylor. You can hear the Multisport Mojo wherever you get your podcasts. Now, without any further ado, here's Steve Harper and Kurt Taylor.
Hey, welcome all you triathletes, swimmers, riders, runners, newbies, and 10-timers, 8-hour finishers, or 16-hour survivors. We're age group gurus, doing the homework, gathering the insights, answering your questions to make you faster, fitter, and fresher in triathlon training, and especially on race day. I'm your host, Steve Harper, with Multisport Mojo and TryGearGuru.com, and alongside me, my good buddy, Ironman certified. Hey, we're both age groupers, Ironman, triathlon, and marathon vets, and everything else in multi-sport in between, here to get you from start to finish. Remember to like us on Facebook at Multisport Mojo, all one word, where you can weigh in and ask questions, and we'll answer them in an upcoming podcast. Follow us on Twitter at #MultisportMojo. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Multisport Mojo. Go to TryGearGuru.com for more content, insights, and great prices on everything triathlon. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Try Hard Triathlon Coaching, specializing in getting you across the finish line in your first triathlon and beyond. Contact Try Hard, Try Hard on their Facebook page at Try Hard Coaching. AZRadio.live, your home for independent music artists. In Scottsdale, Arizona, need to record an album, broadcast a radio show, polish up your blogs, Facebook Live feed, or even record a podcast. Contact recording studio at AZRadio.live and get all the polish of a professional recording studio at a price that fits your startup budget.
Big mics.
We're here in the palatial Scottsdale studios at
You're at
Big
Big
Mics.
Big mics.
Big Mics. This is Polish. We've got Jimmy behind the glass. Keeping us honest. Hey, listen, this week the polar vortex has hit. The polar vortex, or as they call it in Minnesota, just
Winter.
another day.
Yeah.
just another day. Minus 65. I saw this morning.
Wind chill. Let's
Oh,
clarify that.
Wind chill. Yeah, well, Minnesotans. I mean, they're like, it's
Yeah,
cold.
no, but that's
It's
the
what-
wind chill. That's not the
Yeah, I
actual
know.
temperature.
All right, it's
outside.
minus 35. The wind chill takes it to minus 65. Minus 65. My wife's from Minnesota, and she just says, yeah, it's cold.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Things freeze underwater, and the shower fog and on the inside.
Do you remember what it's called? The race?
I don't. I'll find out. You know what I'll do is I'll
Okay.
find out in between podcasts, and we'll I'll announce it on the next podcast.
Okay.
Gosh,
Cool.
wow, it's really, really cold.
Yeah, it's a
Winter
long
marathon.
time to be outside.
Yeah.
Overnight.
I was watching videos of northern Minnesota on the highway, and you think of we're Arizona. I'm an Arizona boy. You're in Colorado. Snow drifts and the wind and this. Wow. I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine going for a run, any kind of a run, especially on race day, when
Yeah.
you're trying to motor and stay hydrated and do all of the things that you do.
Well, didn't you say something about bikes?
Yeah. when I read through it quickly, you could.
Yeah.
It's a running bike. It's like a duathlon ultra marathon. I don't know. I don't know how you. Well, let's talk about that. We've had a lot of questions come in about how do I train in cold weather? How do I, what do I do if it's going to rain on race day? What do I do if it's going to be cold and windy? Let's talk about all of that. You've done races when the weather's gone sideways.
Yeah.
Never in a polar vortex.
No,
But-
I've never raced in a polar vortex.
But the weather's gone sideways on you.
like
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Would you like to race in a? So
Oh.
here's. I was going to ask
Who
you.
doesn't?
We should sign up for this ultra
Yeah.
in Minnesota
Yeah.
next January.
Yeah.
Right? We should do this.
Yeah.
We should do this.
Yeah. Next January.
I got a place to stay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Right?
Done.
Come on.
Let's
All right.
do it.
So you've raced when the weather's gone sideways. I know you've raced. Let's talk about races, and we can talk to how to get ready for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're going to want to bring layers.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the
Why?
word. The layers.
Why?
Well, because you never know what's going to happen, and so the weather goes bad, or if you have a hunch that the weather's going to be bad.
Yeah.
You've got a jacket, right? Bring a jacket. Bring your arm warmers. You want to be able to take stuff off. We've talked in previous episodes about finding really bargain priced gear, so that if
Yeah.
if
Hit
you
the
want
Goodwill.
to, you can just pitch it.
Totally. You too. Yeah, I don't want to take my new knot. I got to get rid of this thing.
I've done races with jackets tied around my waist.
I've done races with you with
Yeah.
big jackets
Yeah,
because
so
it was really cold.
it's not the end of the world,
Yeah.
but you do look a little bit like a dork, running around with your jacket tied around your waist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I looked like a dork because I didn't want to throw my jacket away.
Yeah. But I've done that. I've grabbed stuff at Goodwill,
Yeah.
worn it for the first 5 or 6 miles in a marathon, and then pitched it.
Right. Yeah, no, we had a marathon years ago where it was pretty miserable.
I mean, I remember I never got warm.
Yeah.
I got kind of comfortable, but my hands I had cotton gloves on, sock gloves that you wear in marathons
Right.
to stay.
Yeah.
They were soaking the whole time.
Yeah, no good.
And so it was cold, and so my hands were cold. And it seems like for me, if my hands are cold the whole time,
Yeah.
I'm cold.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, you get swim mitts.
Oh.
So
Are you serious?
I don't know.
I have.
Just came to me.
Well,
This show's done by inspiration. Mhm.
I have running gloves that I wear when we train that I'll wear every day, and I think they're not waterproof. I think they're water resistant.
Right.
They get wet, but they keep my hands warm. I think those are good. Those are good Nike running gloves. I'm not pitching, but
Yeah.
that's what I've
If you
got.
want-
They're good.
And if you want to keep your gloves dry, another option that's very, very economical would be food servers gloves. That you could just
Sure.
put the little plastic thing
Yeah.
over your gloves.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Now the problem is they don't let the water in, but they don't let the water out either. So you're going to get a lot of condensation inside that
Oh.
glove if you keep those on.
Try to
for-
keep
for
so
too
whatever
long.
you can do, keep your hands warm.
Yeah,
Right.
if you've got a pair of Gore-Tex gloves, awesome, great. I love the Gore-Tex. It's old fabric, but it's supposed to keep you dry.
Right.
So, yeah, I've used a lot of Gore-Tex with climbing and backpacking, that sort of thing. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, it definitely works for the running. Another option, when the weather goes sideways and you're in a race and it's raining and you grab an umbrella from a spectator. They have them.
And what are they going to do? They're going to run after you?
Exactly.
You just run faster.
You just take off with an umbrella. I mean, guys will carry flags. So why not carry an umbrella? Right?
It's a Mary Poppins kind of a look.
That's right. Yeah, sure, why
Well,
not?
you'd certainly separate. They wouldn't see it coming.
No.
Right?
That's right. You just say, hey, I just need to borrow this for a sec.
Can I borrow your umbrella for a
Yeah,
minute?
yeah.
I mean, they're going to be cordial. Well,
Thank you. You say, thank you so much for coming out today. Thanks for being out here.
give her a high five.
Yeah.
Give her a high five and
Hey.
and go.
Sure. I mean, what's an umbrella? A few bucks?
All right. So last year I did something. We were in a marathon in October. We did St. George, a bunch of us, and it rained.
Yeah.
And I did something I'd never done before. The silver blankets that you
Oh, yeah.
get at the
Sure.
start of the race. It's
Yeah.
really cold at the start of the race, and it wasn't raining yet. It was maybe starting to sprinkle a little bit, but we didn't know what direction the day was going to go, right? And you really don't. So I for a while I ran with the silver blanket. I pulled it around like a cape and kept it around, and it actually kind of kept me warm. And then it started to rain, so I looked like it
Turned
looked
it
like a
into a
poncho.
poncho.
And I ran. And I was going by people, and people had two reactions. You look
Brilliant.
ridiculous, or that's the smartest thing I've ever seen.
Totally.
I was totally dry,
Yeah.
totally dry. I was
Yeah.
warm.
Yeah.
And I was good. I was
Yeah.
totally good. By the time the rain stopped, about I don't know, mile 20-ish,
Right.
pulled it off,
Yeah.
pitched it.
Yeah.
I was totally dry, and ran in there. It was great.
It's the poncho space blanket.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Totally worked out, and it was totally impromptu.
Have you ever done that before, Jimmy? Made a blanket out of made a poncho out of a space blanket?
I'm wearing one now.
Oh.
Wow, we were wondering.
You added him.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a paisley space
On
blanket.
YouTube and Facebook,
Cool.
you can't hear Jimmy. He wore a.
That's why I asked
Space
him,
blanket
because
in a race.
he's here with his space blanket poncho. Yeah.
Hey, what about triathlon? What if you've got a tri-race day, and we did a triathlon. We did a half Ironman a couple of years ago, where the night before the weather looked like it could go sideways. Race morning, it got really dark. Oh no, we're going to be in for it.
Started raining
On the swim.
on the swim.
And the temperature dropped.
Yeah.
It was cold. It was
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah. Cold and wet.
Yeah. Which didn't really affect you too much in the water. Got out of the water into transition. Holy smokes.
Horrible.
That was rough.
Yeah.
And I'd never experienced anything like that before. So even coming out of that race, I said, boy, if it ever looks like it's going to go sideways on a tri-race day again, I will know better. I will have gloves in my T1 bag.
Listen up, kids.
Bike gloves in my T1 bag. I'll have a bike jacket in my T1 bag. I may even have longs that I pull on in my T1 bag, because not only was I frozen you're wet, trying to then get the wetsuit all the way off, trying to get shoes, just trying to get changed, which is a 2-minute process. Took,
Yeah.
I couldn't even feel my hands. And then got on the bike, and now you've got the wind coming into you. I'm at mile 5 or 6 or 7. I'm frozen, and we got another 50 to go, right? And I just thought, people kept dropping. We'd get to aid stations, and I would see people huddled around steaming pots to get over there, and they're making hot chocolate for athletes. Athletes are like, we're out. We're calling out. I've called a van. They're going to come pick us up. There's no way. At mile 10, bailing, dropping out because it was so cold. And it could have been alleviated if you'd have been prepared. I got to 20 at the top of the hill in St. George. The brown van of life came by. I said, "Are you okay?" And I was stopped, just trying to gather my wits and try to warm up. I couldn't feel my hands, couldn't feel my toes, and I had a big descent coming. And I was thinking, "Okay, is it safe for me to keep going?" Because I couldn't hit the brakes real well. I couldn't couldn't do anything. And you get going on a clip, and it's the guy yelled, "Hey, do you need anything? Do you need?" I said, "Oh man, if feel like it's going to happen. Hey, if you have a jacket that I can," and the gal that was in there said, "Yeah." Hey, I didn't care. She had a bike jacket, and boom, they handed it to me. Put the bike jacket on. Man, huge difference. I gave her a hug at T2. She came to get her jacket. What a lifesaver.
So she dropped out. She was an athlete.
She was out. She was an athlete who dropped out. They'd picked up. They were coming by, saw me, pulled up alongside me to pick me up. Grabbed the jacket, made all the difference. Rained the whole run, but you could manage at that point. You can manage your speed, but being cold on the bike.
Oh,
whew.
Yeah, it's miserable.
So what have you done on cold rides, especially? So race day, you want to be prepared for sure, but cold ride. Ride Gear Guru.
Yeah, Ride Gear Guru.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Yeah. So get your there are booties that you can put on over your
Yeah,
biking shoes.
dress me if it's going to be a cold race day. Dress me. What should I put on?
Yeah, you're gonna want your booties.
Right, waterproof.
The
Waterproof.
neoprene booties you can
Right.
put on over
Slide those up over your shoes.
Right, yeah, and there are holes in the bottom of them so that you can still clip in.
And listen, it's going to be a slower day. If it's raining and it's cold, you're not going to PR. You may get a PR for the coldest race that you've done, but you're not going to PR. So put the booties on if it takes you another 60 seconds. It doesn't matter.
It's better than being one of the wussies gathered around the hot chocolate pot.
Dude.
Yeah,
Calling for a
weak
pickup.
weak sauce.
Dude.
Come on, or arm warmers so that you can layer,
Layer.
right? Get those layers going.
Here, good rule of thumb, right? The outside temperature, whatever it is, if it's 50 or 40, or if it's cold, it's in the 30s, right? Once you get going, it will feel 10 degrees warmer. So dress for once you get into a rhythm. The layers are smart because then you can drop a layer because it's going to feel 10 degrees warm. Felt it is when you get too warm, and then you think, do I get rid of this or do I not get rid of this? If you dress intentionally to drop something, well, you're good.
Yeah.
So doing layers. So you're saying arm warmers or jacket.
Or both.
Yeah.
Long sleeve shirt. Yeah, and at that point, like you're saying, aerodynamics may not really be the main concern.
Right.
You know, you just survivability at that point.
Yeah. I have bike gloves.
Yeah.
Not the regular bike gloves, fingerless, but cold. Well, they look like ski gloves.
Yep.
But they've got grips so you can shift easily and grab a hold of everything that you need to do, stay nimble.
Full fingered bike gloves.
Yeah.
And then you probably are going to want to consider, if it looks like it could be cold or stormy or whatever, get yourself a headband that goes around your ears.
Oh, smart.
You
That's
know,
smart. I've
fits
seen you do
underneath.
this.
Oh, it's a lifesaver.
Yeah. You do it on cold.
You got to protect your top, your noggin.
Yeah.
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 So, little headband, keep your ears warm. Yeah. You know, I'll tell you what I'd love. I would love to hear from people who have done the Lake Tahoe Ironman.
Man.
You know, because I've seen pictures and read stories. We'd love to talk to somebody who has experienced that. We were talking about cold weather. When you have athletes that are getting on their bikes in their wetsuits.
But when it's surprise, so is it worth hacking and all that stuff even if you don't use it?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense now.
Put it in your bag.
You know, I think when triathletes, you think of the uber nature. You think, I'm going to be light and I got to take all this stuff down to T1. I got to bag it all to T2. I'm not going to bring it I'll be fine.
Well, you can bring it the morning of. You don't have to have everything loaded into your transition area right there at the bike the day before.
Right.
Just bring it morning of, right? Bring it morning of. If you got somebody that's out there with you and you decide, I'd rather not leave all this here with the bike.
There's none. You don't use it.
No.
So it takes up a little more space in your bag. A little.
Yeah.
Holy cow, the Converse. Let's see. What about windy? Have you ever had a really, really windy ride or run? And it may not have been cold, but really windy.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots. I mean, both in training and during races.
Yeah.
Notoriously, the Iron Arizona, that bike course is notoriously windy, very, very windy.
Right, Kona, you get the headwinds going out, you get the tailwinds coming back.
Yeah.
Talk about what strategy for wind. Maybe you don't have to dress as much for it, but you got to wrap your head around it for sure.
Yeah, I remember first Ironman, and we're all going out for the second loop, and the wind is still pretty horrible, and we all said, okay, here we go, bring it on. We knew what we were facing, and it was kind of like, yeah, here we go. You know, a lot of it has to do with your mindset, because obviously there's not really anything you can do about the wind.
Right.
So you've just got to suck it up and
do you have any strategies?
Be ready.
Anything you do when you're on the bike?
Well, it depends on the race you're doing, or if it's a training ride. Obviously, if it's a race and it's a non-drafting race, well, You're just kind of out there exposed. I suppose you can maybe cheat a little bit if you're behind the rider in front of you enough, and maybe you get to the side a little bit if the wind isn't quite head on, right? I don't know, but
What about getting down and arrow as low as you can get? Does that help?
of course.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's like being in a wind tunnel.
right?
Sure.
Trying less mass, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, what you want to do is sit up really tall in the saddle. Put your hands on your handlebars with just your fingertips. So you're really getting up because you want to be able to see what's going on.
Yeah.
You want to be able to see everything all around you.
It messes with my riding in the wind. Messes with my head. I feel like
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm going nowhere. I feel like I'm in the mud.
Yeah.
You know, and after a while, it's discouraging. You know, I'm not moving. I can't catch. I can't. People are getting away from me.
Oh, yeah. It can be really discouraging. That's why I'm saying a lot of it just has to do with your mindset. You know, you just kind of,
Just buckle in.
yeah, you got to just be ready to, and then you just sit and hope and pray that if there's a turnaround, that you'll have the wind at your back.
So what happens when you get the wind at your back? What should you do? What if you got a strong tailwind?
Yeah, then it's just pedal to the metal, baby.
Put it down.
Ride it while you can.
Some people think,
Put
well,
out
this is
your
my
sail.
time to coast and rest for the
Sure.
run.
Yeah,
Yeah?
why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Depends on how you're feeling, or do you have a strategy? Do you say, listen, man, it's free speed. Go.
That's right. Yeah, get on with it. You know, I when I say pedal to the metal, just you don't necessarily have to go completely nuts and wipe yourself out, but
Right.
you can still you'll be able to maintain a nice speed at less effort. So just that alone, obviously, is going to give you
Yeah.
more for the run at that
Yeah.
point.
I know that I've caught, there are a couple of there's a descent at Oceanside that's pretty notorious, one at St. George that's notorious. Those are two big descents that I can think of in half Ironman races that I've done, where I've had a tailwind in both, not every year, but I've had a tailwind. There were a couple of big descents at Oceanside. I had a tailwind at one. And I know one that I had in St. George where I had a tailwind when you're coming out of the top of Veo, and it's it's got to be 5 miles-ish
it's a
back
good-
into
yeah,
town.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
tailwind. And I was going so fast. I was down, going as hard as I could, wind at my back, strong, that I felt like, man, I should back off. I'm going to go, if I go down,
Make you a little nervous.
if I go, yeah, made me a lot nervous.
Yeah.
If I go down, it's going to be bad. But it's race day.
Yeah,
We're making speed.
that's right.
Throw to the wind, ironically.
It's fun.
Hey, I've got a couple of questions here as we wrap up. Coldest you've ever run in? Coldest you've ever run in?
Coldest I've ever run in.
Yeah.
Wow. Probably in you.
Yeah.
I
Race
don't
training
know.
ride?
Yeah, just
Or
training.
yeah.
Can't remember if I really ever went out and ran when we lived in Minnesota. Those were probably coldest days
Sure.
I've really ever been in.
Didn't go out on runs. Well, let's talk just quickly. Let's talk about if it's so when you've got a decision to make in training.
Yeah.
It's raining. I got to get a ride in. It's raining and cold. I got to get a run in, and you don't want to go out. What is your option?
Oh. Well, you get a spin bike.
Yeah.
And you put it in your house. And you put it, so you can see the TV right there. Maybe you get your computer set up and you got
Yeah. Do you like this? What if I live in cold weather? We got a buddy who lives
Yeah.
in Denver, Colorado. Winters, he's got snow on the ground. Not a whole
Join the
lot of
gym.
riding days.
Join a gym. Gym memberships are so cheap. Join a gym. Go spend some time on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Sometimes the hardest answer, just going out in the cold, isn't necessarily always the best answer. I don't know. Or you just dress up. You just dress. You put on your parka and your galoshes.
And you go.
Yeah.
There's something
What's the coldest
glorious
you've ever
in
run
running
in?
in the rain. Coldest I've ever run in. It's got, we've done some training runs in Arizona, ironically. No. You know what? We were in it was a summer trip. We were in Wyoming, and the temperature had dropped one night. And I got up for an early morning run and didn't want to miss it. And I was bundled up. And it was cold. It was cold.
Yeah.
Colder than I'm certainly used to running here in Arizona, so I didn't have the right gear, right? I didn't have gloves, right? I was out in a shirt and shorts and shoes, and boom, and I went. I don't know what the temperature was, relatively not to Minnesota, but to me, that was, but, badge of courage, bam, right there, did it.
That's what it's all about.
Hey, in the next podcast, we're going to talk about something we may be a little more familiar with, and that's how to run and or how to train and race in the heat. If you got a hot race day or you're training in the heat, we're going to talk about that. Hey, Kirk, I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone for listening today. Remember, like us on Facebook at Multisport Mojo. That's all one word, where you can weigh in and ask questions, and we'll answer them in an upcoming podcast. Follow us on Twitter at #Multisport Mojo. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Multisport Mojo. Get all of these where they're archived. Binge them on a Saturday night. Go to your trygearguru.com for more content and insights and great prices and everything triathlon. And thank you to our sponsors, Try Hard Triathlon Coaching. Contact Try Hard on their Facebook page at Try Hard Coaching. AZRadio.live, your home for independent music artists. Discover them here and promote the betterment of your community. Big Mike's Recording Studio.
Big Mike.
Contact Big Mike's Recording Studio at AZRadio.live and get all the polish of a professional recording studio at a price that fits your startup budget. This is the Multisport Mojo podcast. Triathlon age group gurus, doing all the homework, gathering all the insights, answering all your questions to make us all fitter, faster, and fresher on triathlon training and on race day. Here to help you get from start to finish. See you next time.